right, you are going to be working with the next page in your packet, and it's called Transitive and Intransitive Verbs. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut out all the way around the outside and just glue the whole thing down onto the next available page in your composition notebook. I will show you how to cut it out quickly, just all the way around the outside. Like this when you're done. And then our title up at the top of our page is going to be Transitive and Intransitive Verbs. Okay, this gets glued all the way across the back onto the top portion of the page. Just like so. And then you're ready for notes. All right, so transitive and intransitive, they sound fancier and more complicated than they actually are. Now that we are pretty much experts, hopefully, at finding the direct objects in sentences and indirect objects, you're going to become experts at finding whether a sentence is considered transitive or intransitive. So down here, I have a little image that I found on Google. And next to that, either side, doesn't matter, I want you to say, I want you to write, sentences are labeled as these. So a sentence is either considered transitive or intransitive. And we're not finding anything particular. I shouldn't say that. We're not finding anything new in a sentence. We're not finding the transitive or the intransitive. It's not a part of a sentence. It is just a label, whether that sentence is transitive or intransitive or not. Okay? So let's look at some notes here. Transitive is a fancy word for has a direct object. And that's all. A sentence is transitive if it has a direct object. If it's not, it's intransitive. And remember, a sentence has to have a direct object in order to have an indirect object. So we don't really need to worry about whether it has an indirect object either, because if it doesn't have a direct object, it will never have an indirect object. Okay? So let's practice finding, or let's copy down some examples finding the direct object. So example, first one, he wrote a letter. Okay, remember, we find our subject plus verb plus who or what. Subject plus verb plus who or what. He is our subject. What did he do? He wrote. Wrote who? Can't answer that. Wrote what? Letter. So letter is our direct object. Therefore, this sentence is transitive. And this verb would also be considered transitive as well. Okay? So a sentence is considered transitive if there's a transitive verb in it, which means there's a direct object attached to that verb. Okay? Another one. Jessica reads a book. Okay? Here's our sentence. Jessica reads a book. Find your subject, which is Jessica. What does she do? Reads. Reads who? Nope. Reads what? Book. Book is our direct object. So now this is a transitive verb or a transitive sentence. Okay? Now, intransitive means there's no direct object in there. You cannot fill in this equation, subject plus verb plus who or what. It won't work. You may find that it asks other question words, which I'm going to put here. like when or why or how or where. If it asks any of these 4 questions, it's not transitive. It does not have a direct object. It has to answer the question who or what. Okay, so let's look at some examples here. John is sleeping. Okay, so John is sleeping. John is our subject. Next, we find our verb. Verb is sleeping. This is our verb phrase. Helping verb, main verb, or helping verb, action verb. So we can put it over both, technically. But the sentence ends there. So we obviously can't have a direct object if that's the end of the sentence. So that would be labeled intransitive. This verb or this sentence would be labeled intransitive. Next one, I eat at 7 p.m. Okay, I eat at 7 p.m. I is our subject. What does I do? Eat. Eat who? Hopefully we're not answering that question. Eat what? No, it doesn't say what we're eating. It says when we're eating, but that's answering this question here. So that would be considered intransitive. Okay. All right, so now let's look at that little image there. So this is basically explaining what a direct object is in this image, even though it's talking about transitive. So transitive verbs transfer their action. So because reads is transferring its action to book, reads who, reads what, book, it's transitive. So that's why it's transferring their actions to someone or something else. Something else, something else. Wrote what? Letter. Read what? Book. Okay, and let's actually add verbs / sentences are labeled as these. So like I said, it's not a part of the sentence. You can't find the transitive. It's not a thing. It's a label for a verb and a sentence. Okay, what I will do is pause here, or you can pause this if you need to catch up on the notes. And you are going to be completing the assignment that is attached below this video. So let me know if you have any questions. Pause if you need to finish up the notes, and good luck.